Yagak. Oh yes, we're talking about my boy Yagak. If you just want to know more about this character, this is the video for you. However, I have made videos on the packs and the ferals, which are kind of related to this topic, if you're interested. So if this is all you care about, this is here for you. But there is more out there if you so desire it. Okay, with that being said, let us begin. Yagak is a feral, which means he was a pax that did the stabby with the anomaly shard and became a feral. Now what happens when you become a feral if you were a pax? Well, you lose all your education and the ability to speak English, which is pretty unfortunate. You are extremely violent and you can't really contain your desire to shed blood. And you also are altered, which means that you have anomaly powers. So it's kind of a fair trade depending on how you look at it. But yeah, if Yagak was a feral, that means he was a pack, so why did he do the trade? Well, it's because of a character known as Monroy. When humanity first arrived, it was Monroy and his regime, and they would ultimately enslave the packs, being paranoid and afraid that the packs were summoning the anomaly storms, rather than what they were actually doing, which was containing them. Now the packs are extremely pacifistic and gentle, and were pretty frightened about how they were being treated and didn't really fight back. And unfortunately, it's pretty sad. Enslavement wasn't enough for Monroy, and he just straight up started genociding them. I've read the lore, and it talks about how they would be shoved into furnaces, and it was just... It was not family friendly, okay? It wasn't nice at all. And so, understandably, a lot of packs began to not really want to walk into the mysterious looking rooms that smelt really bad. And so they ended up escaping and running away, and Yagak was one of them. Now, there is some speculation about who Yagak was specifically as a pax. Some people think he was just a dude being a guy. Other people think he was one of the Paxian spiritual leaders. Now, if he was, it would explain why he was so powerful as an altered or a feral, and it would also explain him being the Grand Warlord. Doesn't really matter though. I don't think it's been confirmed 100% just yet. So like I said earlier, Yagak would do the stabby and he would become a feral. Now, I don't know when he became Grand Warlord, if it was during Monroy's time or after. For the sake of this video, let's just assume that he became Grand Warlord right away, because why not? If he was Grand Warlord right away and he was in command over all of the ferals, then that means that he was personally responsible for leading an assault against humanity, taking their technology and their tactics, and pushing right up to Pack City, breaking through it, and eventually encircling the Caravel. After Monroy was very clearly no longer a threat, and he wouldn't be a threat anymore, Yagak and his people would just chill, allowing more and more survivors of the packs to become ferals, and for many years they would remain undisturbed, until humanity would arrive at Enoch again, and an Outrider and his team, or her team, or their team, would venture out past the big, massive gate. And that Outrider is our character. Now, when the ferals first discovered us, and when we first discovered the ferals, it didn't really go too well, to be honest with you. That's just my personal opinion, but I'm getting that off the fact that they kind of kidnapped us, our people, you know. I don't think they really liked us. Our character would be the only one not kidnapped, and they would be led by the Pax known as August to a Paxian settlement known as Utargok. And it would be there, while trying to escape, that we, the characters, would encounter Yagak for the first time. Yagak would very sadly kill Jakob there. Yagak would take advantage of the fact that Jakob was trying to save Sean's life, would get a big ol' spear and ram it into him, and that would be that. And by Yagak killing Jakob, that would result in Outrider versus Yagak round 1. Now, I don't know about you, but it became pretty clear to me that Yagak wasn't just a normal feral. He was doing front flips, back flips, side flips, Yoda flips, all kinds of spin to wins, and it was pretty insane. Really goes to show how much more of an understanding the ferals have of their anomaly powers than the human altereds do. But, you know, Yagak was pretty decent. His skill set was adequate, but you know, we are something called the main characters, and we are, as a result of that, kind of built differently. And so we would defeat Yagak and be victorious. Yagak would use his powers to secure his retreat, and that would be that for a time. We would later, while venturing through the desert, see Yagak from a distance venturing and wandering straight headfirst into an anomaly storm, which really raises a lot of questions about what exactly the relationship is between the anomaly and the ferals. We would make our way to Pack City, and there Yagak would appear again for the 3rd time with his army of ferals, and he would take advantage of the fact that we had gone into the caravel. He would take advantage of that, and he would himself enter the caravel. And we would meet him in one of the hangar areas of the ship. And so, Yagak vs Outrider Round 3 would commence. Now, he was even more powerful, spawning ice orbs, getting weird chains that, again, he would do the spin to wins with. And yeah, it was pretty fun, not gonna lie. Yeah, okay, I actually did that fight with a friend of mine named Armor. He's a viewer, and it didn't go to plan. But yeah, it was a cool fight. But we would ultimately defeat him again. Now, this is where there's a bit of divide, I think, between people. A lot of people believe that Yagak straight up died there. Can my PC shut up? Oi. A lot of people believe that Yagak straight up died there, but I don't really have that opinion. For me, it looks like he was just debilitated and kind of taken out of it, but either he would leave on his own, or his body would be taken by the ferals, and it would be resurrected. Now, if he actually was resurrected, that raises a lot of questions as well. If a feral can be resurrected, then does that mean that the Altereds can? You know what I mean? Like, Seth? But regardless, Yagak would return, either summoning or communing with a massive anomaly storm. Now, we would not know about Yagak, and we wouldn't even know about the storm, but Chana, Chana getting her visions as always, she would see a future where this storm would spread across all of Enoch and kill everything. And so us and our teams, we would go into the Eye of the Storm expedition, and there, guess who was waiting for us? Yagak. Now, Yagak actually was even more juiced up than before, also happened to get a degree in English, was able to speak a little bit of English. Good for him. I didn't really know he was going to take the time to do that, but priorities, I respect it. And the fight would be interesting enough, very short. I would actually say round 2 was a cooler fight than this, but what is interesting is the fact that, yeah, he spoke English. He would say things like, the packs are no more. He would talk about how we are Monroy, and he would beg Enoch to punish us, which is, again, very interesting. However, even though it was kind of cute how he was trying pretty hard, but we just ultimately whacked him. I mean, I didn't, because it's challenge tier 15 and I'm not challenge tier 15, but I'm sure some of you did. But yeah, so Yagak, I think, died. I mean, he looked pretty dead in the videos I watched, and that should be the end of the story of Yagak. Now, if he got resurrected once, can he get resurrected again? Maybe, we'll see. Maybe Yagak round 4 is meant to be. We'll have to just see what happens. And that's really it. Yagak is a glimpse into just how powerful the packs can become. And what I'd like to see and what I'd like to know more about is if we could ever see our character doing abilities like that, having that kind of understanding of the anomaly, because if a supposedly mindless brute can have such an adept knowledge when it comes to this energy, I'd like to see what the Altereds could do. And with Yagak hopefully dead, that is the end of his story. Now, of course, there's a little wiggle room when it comes to this character, like I kind of showed who he was as a Pax. If he became Grand Warlord, what he would have done, stuff like that. But there's not really too much else when it comes to this character, except that he has a really funny name, and he killed Jakob. And also, he put up a better fight than Moloch did. And by the way, I want to see, oh no, I guess it's not going to happen, but I would love to see a Moloch versus Yagak fight. I think that'd be really cool. I'd like to know who would win. But with that being said, that's basically everything you need to know about Yagak. He's a dude with a funny name that killed one of our best friend, and we beat him 3 times. Pretty cool. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it helped you, and I thank you for your time. Take care, my friends. Take care.